Mr. Speaker, I am extremely surprised by the Cabinet Secretary assertion that Adani has no corruption case anywhere in the world, has been compliant with taxes in where they have local jurisdiction of paying taxes. Because, Mr. Speaker, and there are documents which I can be able to submit before the House, Adani has been barred from doing business in Australia. It has been barred from doing business in India, purely for the same reason we're talking about. Therefore, I think here, Mr. Speaker, the facts which have been asserted by the Cabinet Secretary are not correct, and I think they might need to get further and proper details. However, Mr. Speaker, this matter is before the court, and now maybe, since we cannot be able to discuss in much in detail, but I think I just wanted to raise that issues which are not factual, which I would like the Cabinet Secretary to just confirm, and I'll submit these papers before the House. Nevertheless, I do not wish to have this matter discussed further because it is in court, and therefore, but for purposes of record, I'll be able to submit this record before the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair will have to look at those papers. Yes, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just to be able to guide the House, it's very important that when assertions are made by a member, they must actually prove it. And the only way to get correct information is to get the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to write to those countries' Ministry of Foreign Affairs and receive a confirmation that those allegations that you're making are indeed true. Because the precedent we are setting in the country is we are going to scare away public-private partnership. We are going to scare away investors from Kenya. Because if we do not have money as a country, the only other way to fund infrastructure programs in the country is through public-private partnerships. And so we cannot, as leaders, be the ones scaring away investors. So I think he should be given a timeline within which to confirm that information to the public through the official channels, not by his own rumor mongering and statements.
Pass on your documents to the clerk for the Speaker to look at. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, I had wanted the Honorable Muriu to table, because he said he is tabling something. He should, as a matter of fact, table the documents but not show us WhatsApp messages. Because now what Honorable Speaker is referring are things I can see him just Googling from his phone. Honorable Speaker, you know, we cannot always treat this House as if we are...
Order, Majority Leader. Honorable Muriu, you said, as a matter of fact, that you have papers.
That he can table.
But
Yes,
I can
he should
see you
table.
walking to the clerk with your phone. So which papers do you have to table? Because even what is on your phone can be printed and be...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think electronic documents, we are at the age of information. And the only, Mr. Speaker, what I just need to do is to have it printed and give it to the clerk.
That is exactly
However, Mr.
what
Speaker,
I have said.
Yes, I have it over here. They have the report, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, I think it's important also, as you talk about the benefits of PPP, transparency is most important. This issue...
Order, Honorable Muriu, you are now making a speech. I just told you, if you have documents, as you said you do have, if you have them electronically, go to the table office, print them, and table them for any member to look at. Yes, and it will not be at your cost at all. It's at the cost of Parliament. Yes. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, beg that we either redact from the Hansard, because, Honorable Speaker, what the Honorable Muriu had said that he has documents that he can table, because clearly he had no documents to table. Honorable Speaker, I was just telling Honorable Muriu here, no, it's different when you are discussing matters at Kirwara Market from the House. The House, you have to come and debate with facts, not the way we debate in our marketplaces. And Honorable Speaker, because what we tend to do many a times are to make political statements for the gallery. Because we know we are on national TV, We want to be quoted in the evening news that you have evidence, but you have not tabled any evidence, and therefore must be on the Hansard and in the records of this House that the Honorable Muriu has tabled no evidence of either Adani being debarred from doing business in Australia and all the other countries he named. But Honorable Speaker, back to my question to the Cabinet Secretary. And I had wished that's what Honorable Muriu would dwell on, because the questions in the minds of Kenyans is that Adani Group was said to have initiated a privately initiated PPP proposal. We would want to know, and Kenyans would want to know, are there other investors from any other part of the world that may have had other proposals that the Kenya Airports Authority was considering together with that of Adani? Because the questions Kenyans have been asking is whether there has been transparency, whether there has been openness in the manner in which the Kenya Airports Authority and the concerned ministry has dealt with this question of Adani. And I had hoped that the Honorable Muriu would take the Cabinet Secretary to task to explain to Kenyans what measures they took to inform Kenyans whether there have been other prior proposals from other countries, from other airline management companies, from any other part of the world.
Ask your question.
Honorable Speaker, therefore, I would want to hear whether the Cabinet Secretary can tell us, have there been other proposals that were being considered together with this one for Adani? Because what we have heard in the media is what probably you hear many people quote. But we would want to hear from you, are there other proposals that you have considered? And this Adani one that you tell us now is in court, how far had it gone in terms of your engagements with Adani? Had it moved to the point where you are now discussing a concession, or are you just considering the PIP proposal from Adani? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Oundo.
Honorable Speaker, let me direct my question to the Cabinet Secretary. We passed here the Framework Act, the Principal Act, and it has got very clear stages and steps to be taken before you implement a PP. Probably the Minister could be gracious enough to tell us whether the entire steps that were proposed and contemplated in the Act were ever followed to the letter, to a point they even go to the point of almost signing the agreement, and whether the law was followed as provided for in the law and the regulations. Thank you, Speaker.
Yes, Minister.
Speaker, thank you. Honorable Ichungwah's question is regarding whether we had another privately initiated proposal in respect to JKIA. Honorable Speaker, we do not have any other privately initiated proposal in respect to concessioning of JKIA. Honorable members, to run through a PIP, you will need to have done a feasibility study, and it is a serious submission. It is not a piece of letter. So when you submit a privately initiated proposal, it is a very well done piece of work, having looked at the whole scope of the proposal and what needs to be done. So with respect to that, honorable members, we do not have any other privately initiated proposal by any concessionaire in respect to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport concessioning, or even under PPP, we don't. With respect to Oundo's question, Mheshimiwa Oundo, the PPP, like I said, is not, the process is articulated from the time when you submit. It goes through the due process in line with the PPP Act, which includes PPP approval by the PPP committee, project development phase and feasibility study, the evaluation process of the feasibility study report, the PPP committee approval of the feasibility study, the procurement of a technical assistant, and PPP committee consideration and approval of the negotiated outcome, And at the time when we got the court, when it went to court, we were at the time drafting and negotiating a concession agreement, looking at some of the technical issues like the return on equity, the debt equity ratio, the value for money, and so on and so forth. So that is where we were. But like I said, we had also gone through the due process and we were about to finalize the public engagement. So, honorable members, that is when we got the orders, and like I did indicate, we are using this time to ensure that we communicate and we do provide information to Kenyans. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Basil.
Thank you, Speaker. My supplementary is actually tied to what Ondo asked. Can the CS tell us whether JKIA was operating at a loss for it to be considered for privatization?
CS.
Thank you, honorable members. With respect to JKIA, JKIA in its audited accounts makes a profit of 4 billion annually. 4 billion annually. As we are aware of the state of JKIA, the fact that we need a new airport, we have really overutilized in terms of the traffic and the population of persons we receive at JKIA, and the investment at JKIA is in the tune of 200 billion. So when you're talking about an investment, Speaker, honorable members, of 200 billion, and your bottom line is 4 billion, and the fiscal headroom for an asset which is 100% owned by government requires that kind of investment, the only route to go is the PPP route, where we bring in foreign investment through PPP. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mwenje. I want to move to the next question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine is a quick one. In light of this transaction with Adani, perhaps the Cabinet Secretary can just explain to us what happened with the deal that existed with Kenya Airways and JKIA, which we got the feeling that it was dying, but we've never gotten a comprehensive report on what happened with that.